You are listening to episode 12 of the Underhook Show. My name is Steve, as always, joined by my co-host Chris. Chris, it is the Wednesday after a pay-per-view. How are you doing?
Doing great, my brother. It's a little gloomy, a little cold, but I'm here with you to talk about my favorite thing, man. Professional wrestling.
Yep, and this will be a double shot of All Elite Wrestling, as with everything going on and all of our schedules. Did not get too much else. As much as I hyped up the Dean show, I just had a lot of shit going on and could not get to it yet. But we're definitely going to talk about that at a later date. That being said, do you just want to get right into the pay-per-view?
Let's rock and roll, bro.
Right, so we're going to be doing a review of the Double or Nothing pay-per-view as well as the following Dynamite, but we're starting with chronological order. This being AEW Double or Nothing 2025, coming from the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. I did not catch any pre-show, so I have nothing on that.
I had it on. Did not pay attention to it, though. Sorry, no, I take that back. I turned it on as the last pre-show match was ending. So I didn't really catch much.
Sure, yeah, I think it was all very... I think it was just the two matches. It was very supplemental.
Yeah, the one I tuned into was the Lucha match, I think.
So I ended up going on the YouTube route for this show. Originally, I was going to try Prime Video just to see how the experience was with just like frame rate and like broadcast quality and stuff. I had one of those prepaid visas, right? But get this, show's $49.99, $50 card. Amazon does not let you combine cash with those, so I could not buy the show due to the like $4 to $6 outstanding balance.
Well, God forbid you don't have that $4.
Yeah, right. So I went the YouTube route, and it was very stable. I'm hoping this is the last time we'll have this multi-format thing, because All In was supposed to be on Max. I know we harped on that a little bit when we were starting this show, so hopefully that comes to pass. But nonetheless, we're not here to talk about streaming services. We're here to talk about the professional wrestling. Kicking us off, the 2025 Women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup Tournament Final. I took my swing and I struck out because Jamie Hayter did not win. Mercedes Moné defeated Jamie Hayter with a underhook DDT and a flash pin in 21-15. Chris, how you feeling about the women's final?
Yo, first of all, this match, I loved it. It fucked so hard. I loved that it opened the show because I think it felt like it was a good a good hot opener, Am I excited about the ending? Either way, I would have been happy with an outcome, because either way I look at it, you have two good matches for All In, either way. But the bigger honestly, the bigger match on the paper, I guess, is Monet versus Tony. So I liked it. I don't have an issue with it. I do like the memes afterwards of them turning Monet into Hulk Hogan.
No.
And saying that, can you put Jamie Hayter over? You got the TBS belt. Well, that's not gonna work for me, brother. But I don't think personally that has anything. Like, I don't know. I think they're just looking into that too much for me.
Some observations from this match. First of all, yeah, like women opening the show. I can't remember the last time that happened on pay-per-view. If it has,
if any, yeah, really,
yeah. So that was pretty cool. I think Tony and Mariah went on second at Wembley, but I don't think anything has pulled the curtain. I like bookending the show with the two finals. I think that worked for me. Some observations from this match. First of all, I love the set for this show. I'm glad that they did something original and they didn't just drop in the TV set. Obviously, way more area on the stage would come into play later in the night multiple times, but I just think from a visual point of view, it stood out and it looked very cool. It made the show just feel bigger, and Double or Nothing is like one of their marquee shows, so I thought that was cool. As far as the match, I did really like this match. I thought this was a great match. I appreciated that at the beginning, they both were going for prior injuries that took them out for very long time. Mercedes went right after Jamie's back. Obviously, that kept her out for over a year. And then Jamie answered by going after Mercedes' ankle, which kept her out for 10 months. So I wish they would have followed up with that a little bit more, but it wasn't anything to like kill my enjoyment of the match by any means. But we talked about the power dynamic here, and I think I would have preferred to see more bumping on Mercedes' end. When she was punishing Jamie, like there was some really awesome stuff, like that Meteora hanging off of the apron was really sick. Jamie collided with the ring ropes that looked really nasty too. And then when Jamie returned the favor, Mercedes ate that super kick.
Yeah.
Like that looked gross.
Yeah, that's why I said like big match Monet, she gonna show out. So I had no doubt that this match was gonna. I didn't think this match would open, but I'm glad it did. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I think this was a good spot for it. And it shows that, there's all the jokes about Mercedes as far as who she gets to work with, where she's at on the card. But if that's what it took to get women to open the show and put on this type of match, then I'm here for that, I would say. I saw a lot of praise for the finish, and I'll be honest, it took the wind out of my sails a little bit. It looked nasty. Like, it looked like Jamie took it right on her forehead. And I think that works in a vacuum, because like you get dropped on your head, you're not going to get up. But it felt like I was waiting for Jamie to fire back, and then the match ended.
It just never happened.
Mm-hmm.
There is the one spot I did like was when she hit that Jamie hit the lariat when Monet was seated down.
The sliding lariat.
Yeah, I love that one. I thought that was gonna be the finish right there. That got me. Because I said, if she hits the lariat, she might win. But, good match overall, in my opinion.
Yeah. My only other, I guess, point I would make is, I would say after the match, I felt similar to how I did after that Athena match from last month. Because it still feels like these two have enough to work with there for a rematch.
Yeah, we're going to get another one down the line.
Yeah, I hope there's more to this pairing. Obviously tonight after that match we know what the course is for Mercedes, but now Hayter has a feud lined up too, so they're going to be separated for a while. But I hope we revisit this soon, because I think that these two can do even better, I would say.
Likewise, yeah. I feel like we're going to get one down.
A good start followed by something that I wasn't feeling too much, and I was a little disappointed by that, but I want to hear your thoughts. Because FTR, in their pay-per-view debut under this refreshed heel gimmick, defeated Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness by referee stoppage, I would say, if that's the correct term, in 22 minutes and 30 seconds.
There was a couple matches on... Like, this is overall good pay-per-view. A couple matches that I didn't care for. This was one of them. For sure. This could have been a pre-show. I love Nigel. Don't get me wrong. I love Nigel. But if the way that this panned out, this was a pre-show. This is a pre-show match. Like, it took the wind out of me because it was a slow pace. It was just, I didn't like. Maybe I was expecting more. Maybe that's what I was.
I think there's a great match in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I would say. Obviously the length sticks out, and you're coming right after a 21-minute opener. So the pacing did weigh this down for me, but it wasn't even just the pacing, because there was a lot of good stuff. But then it felt like it became more about Shivani than it did maybe Nigel or Danny. And then you had, Daddy Magic at ringside, and then you had Stokely at ringside. Like, there was just so much going on. Like, it felt like there was just...
And then maybe me thinking that I was going to be right with the Daniel Garcia heel turn, so maybe I was just looking for that the whole time. But I still feel like that's not out of the table yet, because of maybe I'm just I just focus on stuff way too much, and it could be literally nothing. But at the end of the match, Daddy Magic was helping Nigel, but not helping Danny. I could just be thinking of it way too hard, but
no, AEW is pretty on the nose with that type of stuff. Well, I wouldn't say it's on the nose, but typically if it's on screen,
if someone notices it, it was just like I was like, oh, okay, they could use that, and then there's something else later on we'll talk about that I also have a theory on too.
I would say a better way to phrase it is AEW in the past has given people morsels to kind of reach for. I think maybe Nigel might be out of the picture now, but I don't see this really going away just yet. I thought Cash Wheeler was fucking awesome in this match, though.
I mean, I love heel FTR, so I loved everything about it.
Yeah,
but I like it was just it was there, but they just didn't go into that gear, especially having a 22-minute match. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe just swimming too far upstream with the match layout compared to what all four of these guys are capable of. But yeah. I'm with you on that one.
I mean, if you swap this match with that tag match, placement wise, the tag title match, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But
just back to back though with a long opener, with those high stakes. This just fell off to me, which a little disappointing, I would say.
Well, that's okay because the next match is my sleeper match of the night.
No, this was my match of the night, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I love this match. I would even stretch to say that recency bias, and I'm going to obviously reevaluate this stuff in 6 months, but at least as of May 28th, night of recording, this might be my favorite AEW match of 2025. I love this match, which was Ricochet defeated Mark Briscoe in 16-20.
It was, first of all, unexpected stretcher match. And then we talked about it last week that these two are going to show up and show out. And boy, did they. What?
Yeah.
Mark Briscoe said, oh, you want me to get color? I got it. Don't worry.
He looked like a demon. He looked like Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 5 with like the horn sticking out of his head. Because he looked insane, man. This was fantastic. Just on the surface, I think what they did so well was blending the stooging of like Ricochet's heel act with the over-the-top violence in a way that never felt inconsistent. Like, it still felt heated. It was obviously super violent. They were doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but it all felt right. Even when you're going between the ring to the stage area, because I had the ambulance parked there, it was like an ambulance match with a stretcher involved. I can't say I've seen too many stretcher matches in my time, so I can't compare there. But my notes stopped here because I was just so like into this match. But we obviously have to talk about the Windex spot.
Everything. Yeah, he busted out the thing, and Tony Schiavone screamed, "Mr. Clean." I started dying laughing. I said, "Oh God, this is great. I was highly I knew it was going to be good. I didn't expect it to be great. You know, like I didn't expect any like not low expectation of the match, but I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome.
No, it superseded your expectation.
I didn't think this was going to be. I'm going to have to look at the card again, but I'm going to have to agree my match of the night. There might be one other one that I like on a wrestling standpoint, but this one.
Yeah, this was well received in general, and I think it all comes down to how you feel about the main event, and as well as Anarchy. We'll get into those in a little bit, obviously, but yeah, just the consistency here with everything they're doing, like all the insane spots. Ricochet completely eating shit on the shooting star on the stretcher just to kind of kick things off, and that's when you knew like, oh, we're doing this.
It's like, oh, we're locked in, got it.
But just how shitty, and I mean that in the best possible way, of like, I absolutely lost it kind of under my breath when Briscoe pulled out the table. I'm just like, come on, man, Ricochet, put it back. And then he did.
Yeah.
That got me. Stashing the second pair of scissors in the ambulance door, too, is just like, you piece of shit. And he got away with it. Like, he's just... I think he's Teflon, man. I think he got there. And obviously a lot of that has to do with how great of a foil Mark Briscoe is, because he is just,
He's a
he's
he's a
such a
chameleon.
natural baby face. So lovable, but then obviously he's also completely insane. And that image of him on the stage though with the with the scissors.
He's legit like a young Mick Foley, man. Like legit, if you think about it.
Obviously
You
a
know,
clear influence and
because
parallel.
like you look at it, man, like he will go nuts, but super over the baby face. You know, I love Briscoe. They're not. You can't say nothing wrong about Briscoe for me, boy.
Yeah, and obviously, I shouldn't put too much stock in what you read on the internet and social media. But after this match, like it felt like a lot of people who really prioritize like the super fast athletic style. Not saying that Briscoe isn't by any means, but like your Ospreys,
Yeah,
your Swerves, your Kennys, and people were like, "Wait a minute. Mark Briscoe's kind of like sneaking up as like a potential wrestler of the year candidate," and I'm like, "Yo, like we've been saying this the whole time. He's having a fantastic year, and all he needed to do was to get this spot in a marquee
but
match on a pay-per-view."
and like, and I've said this day one. Like, it sucks that he's getting what he deserves now, and what it took to get here. See what I'm saying? Like, that's my only gripe.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
happy. I'm happy that he's being showcased, and I'm happy that like people finally see who he is. But it's like, fuck, dude, this could like, can you imagine?
Oh, like
Like, you know what I'm saying?
if they got the tag run from day one.
I'm saying if they were on
Yeah,
TV
yeah.
from day one, but oh my lord, whew.
Yeah, no, they would have been all time.
But
And
I'm happy.
they're both still all time
Yeah.
without it.
Oh yeah, and I'm happy. Like I said, I'm happy he's here now, and where he's showing up and getting them pay-per-view matches. So we're good.
Yeah. And I want to say Briscoe Fletcher was my match of the night for Dynasty. So that's back to back for me. But
I blocked Dynasty out of my brain to be 1,000% honest.
such a weird show, but we're talking
Yeah,
about a good show tonight.
yeah, we're talking about a really good show tonight.
But the point being though is that like the signs were there, the TV works there, obviously the legacy he already has established was there. But now in 2025, like Mark Briscoe just getting these consistent pay-per-view placements, like is turning heads, and it's a wonderful thing to see, man, because he is that good. Like he's fucking awesome. This match was great. I'm like bummed that the feud's done for now, just because like there's such a natural pairing. But man, yeah, this is gonna be one I'm gonna revisit when Big
Oh
List time comes around, man, because this was really awesome. If you're into the whole like just chaotic brawls, good character work, a lot of blood, like check this one out.
yeah, the feud might be done, but we're not done seeing Briscoe though on TV, and that's awesome.
Absolutely not.
Or Ricochet, so that's awesome. I'm excited to see where Ricochet goes from here, and Briscoe for that matter.
Yeah, yeah, because they're both featured on television tonight. Moving on, AW World Tag Team Title match. The Hurt Syndicate with MJF successfully defended against the Sons of Texas in 12 minutes 38 seconds, which was the shortest match of the night, if you could believe that. Don't have much to say on it. I think that they leaned into what I was talking about in circles on that preview episode. Man, I really kept reiterating shit on that one. But Sammy bumped well. You could tell that Dustin was kind of delivering more of the substance, but that caveat creeped in. And then unfortunately, it's gonna be a caveat with all these Hurt Syndicate matches. It's just you're kind of waiting for the MJF stuff to happen.
Yeah, there was like they leaned into it heavy, not heavy, but they leaned into it a couple times in this match. Like they focused on MJF, looking like he was gonna hit Lashley or something like that. I'm not gonna. I tuned out of this one for a minute, but like, what I did see was a couple like Shelton Benjamin. I love Shelton Benjamin. There was a spot where I think Sammy was going to dive and he hit him with that running knee. Yeah, that shit was sick. But other than that, I honestly didn't. I think I was with my kid at this point, like taking care of him. But
Yeah, and it all comes down again to the byproduct of AW going like jam packing these cards is that you are going to have spots where like you do need to step back. I took mine at a point that I kind of regret. We'll talk about in just a little bit, but I did really want to see what they could do with this match, and I'll say it with the other tag match. I think there is a really good match in there somewhere. It just they were prioritizing.
Yeah, it's overshadowed by the MJF thing at that point.
Yeah, and I think the big takeaway here is that I think this is the most Lashley has approved of him. So I think for at least the summer we're in for a ride, or at least until All In. But yeah, this is fine. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. Just it was what it was, Next, though, was the match where I was in my kitchen for most of it. I don't have the most thorough feedback on it. Well received, though, and it just had a sick ass finish. I could double down on that for sure. So it's Kazuchika Okada defeating Speedball Mike Bailey in 1602.
This and the stretcher match are what I'm trying to figure out was my match of the night, like for sure.
I got to go back for this one, man.
Yeah, I love both these men, and I think I praised this last week. I was like, I'm stoked to see this because I don't recall them ever wrestling against each other. But
no, this is the first time.
But I want to see it again. But that ending though, that you can't recreate that ending. That was so good.
Yeah, which the ending, Okada's known for his immaculate timing with dropkick cutoffs. So they had the wonderful idea to just make that the finish of where, if you didn't see it, just full on anti-air with Speedball hitting the shooting star press and Okada just knocking him out of the sky with a dropkick. It was an insane visual. I'm sure it's gone viral in other places by this point. Really cool finish. At a glance, because again, I was not like zeroed in on a lot of the action. I just unfortunately didn't have time to go back for anything on this show. This felt like when you like the main event when you're smack dab in the middle of a G1.
Yeah, that's the feeling I got from it.
Yeah, it felt like a G1, like a marquee G1 match, which makes sense of who's in the match. So I'm gonna go back for this one. So I don't have too much to say about it right now, but I'm glad that this was such a success, given how inevitable the outcome was.
Yeah, this match was solid. Definitely, they're gonna run it back at some point, probably. But yeah, give me more of this.
Yeah, this has Continental Classic written all over it, I think.
Anytime Speedball Mike Bailey showcase, I'm all in for it. So
yeah, and I'll harp on this again, or I don't even harp on it, just reiterate it. I was kind of getting some fatigue on Speedball in the Indies. I feel like we've kind of seen everything as far as matchups, but the AEW run's been going really well for him, so I'm happy to see that.
I feel like they're giving us all like a fan service. Like they know what we want to see.
Like it just worked out really well.
Yeah, like we said last week, losing to Okada isn't really that bad of a thing. You know?
Yeah, it's nothing to be ashamed of by any means, especially like when you get this pay-per-view spot and you get, 16 minutes. That's about what you would want out of this. It's not too short, not too long. Nice sweet spot. I definitely got to go back for this one though. Oh, I will admit. And moving on, the Forbidden Door rematch of Toni Storm successfully defending her AEW Women's World Title match against the recently signed Mina Shirakawa in 1552. I'll be honest, I think I preferred their first match to this one.
I was just about to say their first match was better than this one. Not that this one wasn't good, but this one seemed more of like a what's the spot? Not spots, but like they kept dancing and doing.
Yeah, more shtick.
Shtick. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, shtick. There's more shtick in this one, but I mean, it's Toni Storm match. I'm with it, and I like Mina. I feel like this match they just kind of threw together because they didn't have anything for Toni to do. Because it's like they literally were just like, oh yeah, Mina. Like what? No, we could have did someone else, but whatever. A safest bet, I guess, in the long run if you don't want to get her hurt.
Right. Yeah, because we saw glimpses of what Mina does in these matches with the limb work. Don't think it was as fleshed out as last time, and I don't think that the that it peaked as high as the Forbidden Door match. But this was obviously a stopgap before the Mercedes match, and after the match, we got our first official match announcement for All In, which obviously is Toni Storm defending against Mercedes Moné. So, which they obviously began the program on the subsequential television. But yeah, this was fine. I don't think it was bad. Just didn't live up to my expectations from the first match.
I honestly think it was placed here just to be the before, like the piss break before Anarchy, and then the match afterward is definitely the cool down afterward.
Yeah. So before we get into Anarchy, I will just say for the 6 man, because I'll be honest, I did not pay attention very much.
I still haven't watched that 6 man to this time, till this moment in time.
It was a little longer than the tag title match.
Because
surprisingly,
I'm gonna be fully transparent. I made it all the way to Anarchy in the Arena, and then after
Mhm.
that, it was the day after, and I just went right to the main event.
That's probably the better way to do it, because I was fried after Anarchy myself. My observation though from the tag match was that they visibly had to turn the house lights down because they knew after how long Anarchy was, everybody had to go, hit the restrooms, get food, whatever. Like, it was like textbook popcorn match, and it also set up what's going on TV right now. So I guess it wasn't a total waste, but hey, all those guys got on the card and got paid. I did not take any notes on Anarchy in the Arena because I don't really know how you could in the moment.
Yeah, I didn't take notes, but I just figured we could discuss what we liked and didn't like about it.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, I didn't think this was the best one. I don't think it was the worst one though.
It wasn't the best one. It was highly entertaining, though. I'll give it that. I know some people didn't like the music aspect of it. I don't give a shit, man. It's like I get the blood feud, and I understand like this is supposed to be serious, but also at the same time, like I like a little bit of little laughter in my shit. So
Yeah, we can stay on that because I think that is a big talking point, and it's one that I kind of. No, I didn't dwell on it too much because I gotta reframe my whole like perspective with the match like this. Which, by the way, Team AEW, the babyfaces, Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, and the Ops and Willow Nightingale defeated the Death Riders and the Young Bucks 35 minutes 19 seconds. So this was not the longest match of the night. It definitely felt like it just because there was so much happening, as there always is. The whole tonality of this. The only thing that was strange to me, because I mean, I think with a match like this, there really is no boundary
yeah, it's like
cross.
no rhyme or reason. It's just
It just felt like there was two different matches going on, and not in a good way initially, because you kind of had that signature elite tongue-in-cheek stuff happening in the ring, while like all the killers were in and around the arena. Like, if you look at what the Young Bucks are doing compared to Samoa Joe, to me that didn't line up until like that kind of final third where everything came together.
Yeah, where they kicked it into the final gear.
Yes. I do have to question though if the Bucks were not supposed to be on the Philly show, because what, like the Founding Fathers thing, like that just feel like that would have worked so much better in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I understand like that's their new thing, but I get it would have worked so much better in Philly.
Double or Nothing's like, it's like an unofficial anniversary show because it's like the anniversary of their first show, but they don't really present it as such. But yeah, the Bucks came out and
I feel like the Anarchy thing is they came out to some the Founding Fathers theme music,
some Yankee Doodle ass fife and flute song.
So as I'm sitting here watching it, me and my wife are chilling. I'm like, because you could hear the music faintly. They don't have it like blaring like they do. Fast forward, they play other music, So I'm hearing this music in the background, and she's like, "Is there someone playing music like outside?" And I was like, "No, it's the TV." And then all of a sudden, like, they changed the music up to the Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited.
Which that worked for me
Yo,
for what it was.
let me tell you something. I popped.
Yeah.
I laughed. I said, "Oh, TK, you got me, dude. Like you cornball. Like you
That was
got me,
clearly
bro."
his call too, because I
Yeah,
think he tried to get that for Collision.
he used it for Collision for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he used it for Collision or Dynamite, one of those for a
One of the
while.
two. He tried making that like stick and it didn't
And
stick. So I feel like that was his call.
and it was funny. He was like, "Well, I'm gonna get my use out of this," you know, and
Hmm.
it was funny. But then after that, they played Bodies by Drowning Pool,
Yeah,
which
which I think that unlocks a very, very specific place in a lot of wrestling fans'
yeah,
brains. Um, so that worked for me. I mean, it calls for
and
synchronized dives. You know what I mean?
when they played it, the crowd did go absolutely ape shit though. So I mean, it worked out. It worked for the like it, and I feel like Anarchy in the Arena is now going to be that. That's going to be your trope. That's going to be you're going to have some kind of song doing, playing or something for a little bit. That's just I hope not. I hope not. But
No, it's happened to everyone. The first two was Wild Thing. The second time was with live band. I remember it being pretty bad, actually.
absolutely god awful. And then when they threw him to the drum set, I was so happy.
Yeah, and they did a final countdown with Brian, and then the trifecta here. Yeah, I think that's always going to be an established trope. Before we just start calling out like just stuff we liked as far as like the action goes, I do think that they need to move away from having this on the same show every year. I think that gets a little bit too much into like when WWE was doing like the gimmick pay-per-views of like, well, we do Hell in a Cell in October, so we have to have a feud for it. I think if you built it more organically, that out of nowhere, if you're just like,
And then you could just run it at a random pay per view. Yeah.
because now it has that reputation of like, well, this is going to be the wildest thing you've ever seen. But for the most part, I like this. I was worried at first that Joe didn't make his entrance because I'm like, whoa, like if Joe's not in this, I'm just gonna be like genuinely upset. But Joe
will
was
say,
there though, and he was great.
I died at your tweet though. You were like, Samoa Joe is here. Time for the or you said so you're like, turn this
Turn that
bullshit
bullshit.
off. You said, turn this bullshit off. Samoa Joe's here. I started.
Yeah, I'm like
laughing.
we ain't doing this, man.
You said, turn it off. Time to lock in. Time to
Yeah.
lock in. But
Yeah, man.
dude, I love this. I like anarchy. I like a good like just like this to kind of like break up the monotony of everything else. And I feel like fast like you said, they Team AEW won, right? Now my theory a little bit ago when I said I had another theory about something else that might happen. Work with me here. See if you feel me. The Bucks got pinned, not the Death Riders. So I feel like that's how you break them away. You know, kind of like that's how you start that feud, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because that's the easiest way because you're gonna because there was no mention tonight of any of that. So okay, that's cool. That's not mentioned.
Yeah, Swerve and the Bucks feel a bit more sequestered compared to like they're not tied in with the Death Riders. Death Riders were just kind of there tonight, but it worked for me.
But yeah, when I watched it and I thought about it like later on, I said, "Oh, that actually makes more sense now." And then watching the TV tonight made a little bit more sense too.
Yeah, yeah. Some positives though. I thought Willow and Marina both were awesome in this match.
Yeah, they show the earring spot got me. I was like,
Yeah, the padlock through the earring or the gauge or whatever, like was gnarly. Marina bladed. I thought Willow would be the one to blade, but Marina did it, which was sick. I thought they handled the intergender stuff well. It didn't feel out of place, and I think in a match where literally anything can happen, it worked.
Yeah, it wasn't like they didn't overdo it or underdo it. It worked out pretty good.
Yeah. And all this stuff I'm talking about, I feel like came in that final third of the match where everyone came together. But before we got that, though, I loved how they killed the music. Claudio hit the giant swing on Swerve through the speaker. And one thing, though, because, I mean, this is musician-brained here, you could tell that in the one spot they gimmicked the shit out of those road cases.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got thrown into a road case, like, you're done.
You're out cold, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit's solid.
Another spot I liked was the staple gun spot, where it's Swerve doing a drive-by and everybody with a staple gun.
I mean, it got pretty gross at parts. Like Swerve got it right in the tongue.
I lost
one of the,
you know me. I loved.
Yeah, one of the Bucks I think got it like right in the privates.
Yeah, he dropped down, shot him. Utes was going for the knee, stapled his knee. I was like,
limb work with a staple gun, man.
Yeah, I said, man, this is as long as and then that tongue spot. I said, there it is. I knew Swerve was gonna take. I knew it. I just had it because we've seen him staple himself. So I'm like, he's gonna take something.
Yeah, and again, it feels like every good part of this match we talk about was when everybody came together. It's hard to view this match critically. And when it felt like they were just kind of having a tag match with the Bucks, Kenny and Swerve, while everything else was happening, I do have to keep in mind that they have to do stuff for the people in the room, because you can't just have people looking at 4 screens in the building. But that was the only kind of tonal dissonance I did feel, because you had the Jacksons dressed up how they were, kind of just going through the motions, while Joe's trying to kill everyone in the concourse. And but they got there in the end for me. Nana doing the bit with the forklift was awesome. And hey, he took a bump. You called that one.
I said, like, everyone bumping this match. Everyone. Like, the ending, like, the Swerve Stomp with the thumbtack answer threes was great. That was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he got his own Iversons.
I almost bought him today. I almost did it. Talked myself out of it. But
they look cool, like the colorway's cool and everything.
My only fear, I don't know how Reeboks fit my feet, and I'm not trying to spend money if I don't know if they're gonna be comfortable. So
yeah, you definitely gotta get an idea of that.
Yeah, so I was like, I can't risk that. But they look nice. They look really cool.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of really good stuff though. Again, in that final third, I let myself down. It's totally my fault. It's totally my fault because I did talk myself into Eddie Kingston coming back.
Well, it wasn't just you, brother. We all thought something was gonna, Kingston, anybody. There was even people rumoring that Danielson was gonna come back.
Yeah, because he was at Dean the night before.
Yeah.
But Mark Briscoe flying off the stage, still covered in his own blood. Wonderful, wonderful spot, and it just felt like he belonged in there, even if I'm totally happy that he got his own match. He didn't feel out of place being the guy to equalize things. And I love the bit of shoving all the Death Riders in the ambulance before the finish. Like that felt like just like a hell yeah, like the babyface is getting one over them.
Well, then the picture of Joe giving the finger to the Bucks was the best.
Yeah.
like that was it right there, But I love this. Was a good one. This was solid. Not my match of the night. I'm still torn between it's either Okada and Bayley, stretcher match, but I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
Yeah, and I'll just throw one more point out there before we move on, because you could talk about this match longer than the match actually lasted, but with everything that happened, exploding table generally surprised me.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
The pyro table, and for how hated the whole Death Riders arc has been, the times where the babyfaces have genuinely gotten one over them, with the trios title win and sticking them in the ambulance leading to the win, I thought were both handled incredibly well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They don't oversaturate or overdo it, They make sure like the Death Riders still get their one up, but when the baby faces get one up, they make sure it's a big moment,
Yeah, and I feel like the group of baby faces they picked were like a really nice combination of very endearing, lovable wrestlers, but who also can beat ass.
And then the odd man out, Shibata.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's definitely an ass beater.
He fit in this match. Yeah. Like, we thought, or like, he's the odd man out, but he blended in with everyone else. Like the spot with the garbage can.
Yeah, like the big, like the rolling bin.
He just threw him into the door, just throw him down. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
the
Yes,
hook
this is a lot
spot,
of fun.
the hook
Yep.
spot. What
Oh yeah.
like that?
We didn't get a follow up on that yet, but I'm
Like
glad he's okay.
yeah, they talked about it a little bit on TV tonight, but nothing like too like nothing to nothing like in
Like
detail.
substantially, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he might still be like sitting on the side from that concussion that he thoroughly almost got or whatever happened to him.
Yeah, at least I mean, hey man, he was out there and he was upright and he did get his hands dirty a little bit, so I hope he's doing well because it was pretty nasty what happened.
I'm a hooker. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Out there in the Kenny from South Park hoodie.
Yeah, that's me, man. I've been a day one hook guy since I saw him eating chips. So I said, hey, that guy's gonna be awesome. But yeah, I seen him come out, and then he hits I forgot who he hit with the golf club, but he comes out with the golf club, hits him, and then
It was Claudio, because I think they had it where Claudio wrote him off TV.
yeah, okay. I couldn't remember if it was Claudio or Yuta for some reason, but he hits Claudio with the golf club, and then Joe tells him to come in the ring, and then Hook says nah and just walks away.
Yeah, there's definitely some friction there, and maybe he might view it as like that he was replaced. So there's something there. If they do another Joe Hook match, I'm here for it because I adored their match last year.
Yeah, I love that shit.
That match was fantastic. So we'll see where they go with that. I think Hook needs a good singles match to kind of get him back because a lot of people turned on him, but hey, like when you get stuck in a Jericho feud for 9 months.
And that was it. He got stuck in that Jericho vortex. Same thing with Big Bill and Brian Keith. Stuck in that Jericho vortex.
That's a long time to feud for with any two people, let alone like Jericho. So
and then
I would just say,
and he's not even on TV right now, and they're still stuck.
Yeah, right. With that being said, we neither of us had anything on the semi-main, which was a cool down for the people in the house and just to do some building for TV. I definitely should have watched the main event the next day because I was cooked by the end of this match.
I knew that I needed to be like fully awake for this because this is what we waited for.
I was drinking whiskey during this show, but I should have cracked a monster during this match, man. Because in the longest match of the evening, Adam Page defeats Will Ospreay in 36 minutes and 59 seconds in the Men's Owen Hart Foundation tournament final. Hangman Page is going to Globe Life. I was genuinely shocked with the result. I was certain Will Ospreay was winning this match. So I was happy with the result. I was pleasantly surprised. But within like the first 10 minutes of this match, it's like I've seen enough G1 finals to know what we're doing here. I don't want to just repeat myself and say the match was too long and maybe they did a little too much, but I think the match was too long and maybe they did a little too much.
Match was a lot of too long because that's the only gripe I have with like AEW's pay-per-views is they don't know how to time it because I guarantee your people are still burnt out from the Anarchy in the Arena. They don't want to sit through almost another 40-minute match, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good match. Also generally shocked at Adam Page winning because we both banked on Ospreay like winning that going to All In, but it's the internet, so take it with a grain of salt. I read that both men were lobbying for each other to win. So I don't, like it's weird. I mean, like, but it was a good babyface versus babyface match. Sets the redemption arc for Adam Page to hopefully get his title back. But what happened on TV tonight, we'll talk about it here in a little bit. But I liked it. Good spots. I mean, it's an Ospreay match. You're gonna get those spots. The drop down on the hidden blade by Adam Page was a good little spot.
Yeah, and like that's something that I saw parallels to Okada Kenny, and people were pointing out that Hangman was pulling from a lot of his past rivals in this match, to where that's something Jay White has done a lot against, like when he's facing wrestlers who are about to pull their finisher, he kind of just collapses to get out of it. I think he even did it for a buck.
He did it for
Okada. I think he did it for a buckshot. I want to say during their feud in AEW. But then like hitting a house call at one point, and then the Angel's Wings, which obviously he has. That was like kind of gifted to him. But I like the idea of kind of going back to your past to get over the hill. Ospreay did something similar a couple years ago. He didn't win the match, but in his G1 final against Okada, he just started pulling out all the finishers of Bullet Club leaders, like people Okada feuded with in the past. So that's a cool trope.
Styles Clash, and he hit the. I remember that
V-Trigger.
one. Yeah.
He hit the V-Trigger, Styles Clash, yeah, and maybe the coup de grace.
I want to say he hit the coup de grace.
Yeah, so that's I like that stuff. I'm into that stuff. Now again, I'm not trying to just be like an old fart or whatever, but I didn't like it in the Danielson match. I didn't like it here. I'm not a fan of the Western shootout with the finishers. And I know I'm in the minority with that one. It just took me out of it in the moment.
Yeah, like I said, like you realistically, you probably should have slept because I was rushing. I watched this match fully like awake. Fully rested, and I was like, man, if I would have watched this and I was half asleep, I would have been pissed off because like I know I would have dozed off and been mad. But I get what you're saying. Also, like, yeah, my only trope is it went way too fucking long, way too long.
Yeah, 36 minutes. I can't think if they've done a singles match main event that went this long before. I really have to look back because, I mean, I know Mox Swerve was very long. So I meant to go back in the archives, but I didn't. I am going to put this in that file under needs a rewatch just because I was exhausted and I, obviously had some liquor in my system too. So I don't think I can give you the most fleshed out feedback, but I think this is another pairing that, for what it was and for what AEW fans wanted, I think they clearly delivered. Like, this is going to be something, like, when you're talking about, like, this is going to rank very high in the Voices of Wrestling list. Dave's probably going to give it, like, a 6. I understand this is going to be well received by so many. And I didn't hate the match. I just think, obviously, we both can agree that it was too long. And I need to go back and comb through the finer details when I'm a lot more attentive. But another thing I noticed too, they kept like the boxing lights down for the whole match.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next thing. I was like, why did we keep the boxing lights down?
I call them like, because they do it for the introductions, but like they kept them down for the whole match. Even with some of the directing here too, it felt like, I know this is taboo to say in wrestling, but they were going for a lot of those cinematic shots. So maybe they wanted the more dramatic lighting. But it felt like they really threw all their eggs into this basket, and I think for the core AEW audience, it clearly worked. So, mission accomplished on their part. But that gives us our main event for All In Texas, Hangman Page versus Jon Moxley. I am so excited for this match, though.
It's going to be great. They're going to fuck each other up for sure.
Yeah, and I think this is a much better take on fighting for the soul of the company than maybe in the past that they've done. So I'm very excited for this though. But that was Double or Nothing. I would say it's a good show. I think it just, maybe you could have trimmed some fat here and there, but I don't think that's necessarily a hot take.
Yeah, that's just been the thing, or the running trope with AEW pay-per-views, just the timing, but it is what it is. And I will say, I just did a quick little glance at the past couple pay-per-views of AEW, and so far the longest, other than that match, the longest one I found so far was Hangman and Swerve at the Cage in Chicago. It went 31 minutes. So far, that's the longest main event I've seen.
Yeah, so this one's 37.
Yeah, so, and then that's just at All Out. Like, that's just, but yeah, that's as far as, yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah, like pay-per-view main events for them are usually within that like 25-30 minute range. Anytime they've gone an hour, it's been on TV and it's almost always open the show because you have to obviously allocate TV time and make sure everything fits. But I figured that was what they were doing. Obviously, both of those wrestlers can go that long. They're incredible athletes. And it certainly wasn't Ospreay's first tournament final, so he kind of knew the territory with the layout. But I thought this was a good show. Definitely their strongest so far in 2025. And we're about halfway through their slate. I think we have, oh no, just under halfway. So we got 5 more. So almost at the halfway point of their pay-per-view schedule. But I definitely think this was the strongest out of the 3 so far. I don't know about you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that being said, do you want to get into television?
Let's knock it out. It's a slow week in television, though. I'll give it that.
Yeah, we don't have to go too long on this, but some seeds were planted, and I think some speculation we could percolate on here. We open with a bit of a promo train, actually. Hangman with a really strong promo, I think, as far as just his kind of mission statement moving forward. But then we got back to Hangman and Swerve, and I really didn't know how to feel about this because, there's a certain suspension of disbelief with pro wrestling. And Swerve straight up pulled out the VAR for any soccer fans and said, "Look what the Young Bucks said like 2 months ago." And it just made me think of why don't more wrestlers do this?
Yeah, and if you think about it, it's actually kind of good timing on Swerve's part. Like he stopped it to focus on the anarchy,
Mm-hmm.
and then hey, we ain't done yet. Let's go double back to because he's still after the Bucks. So it all makes sense. It's all tying in together because we were all wondering how we were going to get back to this, and it actually tied in pretty smart so far.
The plan is not what I thought it was from the get-go, which was going to be Hangman and Swerve teaming against the Young Bucks. Because that felt like a very AEW thing to do for the big show. Do you think they're going to pivot to Swerve and Ospreay?
That's the way it felt. That's the way it felt. Is we're gonna detour now. We're gonna do, and I'm all with it. I'm all for it. Because at first when Ospreay came out, I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, like what? His Ellen DeGeneres haircut. And
Yeah, man.
fix it.
He's got to figure that out, man. Because
What?
it's either like it was like blow dried crazy style the last couple of weeks, and then they came out here, it was all wet.
It was half blow dried, half wet. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, I mean, it looks like we're detouring to Swerve and have Ospreay.
Yeah, maybe Swerve and Ospreay against the Bucks.
And on paper, solid match, but we have to cross the bridge. Like they didn't mention anything of of the Death Riders and the Bucks, so we still have to focus on that part. And
yeah, this felt very centric to Hangman and Swerve specifically.
yeah,
Which why I was like, I almost thought they might do like a right to challenge match on one of these big TVs, but I think it's way too soon for these two to be wrestling again.
oh yeah, no. And my head was they were going to do a right to challenge 3-way.
Could see that too.
But the way that they rerouted it, I'm interested,
Yeah.
because now you have 45 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until All In.
Just short of 7 weeks, right?
Yeah,
or
so
6 weeks, or a little over 6 weeks, I should say.
So you got to build some stuff. Like, what I'm saying? You got some time to build this. So
Yeah, there's definitely more questions than answers here. Ospreay's a big question mark though, because like I penciled him in that main event for months now. I guess the question is, and obviously we have all these weeks to ask the question, is though, like, I just assumed Moxley was going to successfully defend, and that would open the door for Darby to come back in. I think Hangman muddies the water a little bit. I could actually see him doing this thing.
Yeah, the way that they're building it up, they're making it seem like, hey, Hangman's going to be the one. Hey, and if I'm the booker here, fantasy
Mm-hmm.
booking, it's either Darby or Hangman that's taking that belt off of Mox. Because if you're doing like a big AEW, you're trying to get that rah AEW team, it has to be a homegrown talent. So
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Samoa Joe would be better, or not better, but Samoa Joe would be
Yeah,
also
I
a
mean
great option.
that's always a safe pick.
It's their AEW safe pick is Mox with the belt, and then our safe pick is Samoa Joe with that belt. So hey,
Yeah, yeah. You have to have something big for Ospreay at this show. He's clearly, once this whole Death Riders thing is done, like, if he doesn't hold that belt at the end of the year, then he's going to hold it for a long time next year. Like, that's clearly where we're going with this. And they want these three to kind of be your focal points. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what they do. And they're going to have to do some build-up stuff with all these 4-hour blocks, I think 3 weeks in a row. Granted, one's in Arena Mexico, so that's going to be more of like just a collaboration and a showcase type of event. Which I believe the card is out for. But anyways, sticking with this card, right into the Death Riders showing up. It was a pretty cool mixed tag, and keeping some of the standouts on the pay-per-view relevant immediately after, because the first match after Double or Nothing was the team of Jon Moxley, Marina Shafir, and Claudio, right?
Gabe Kidd.
Gabe Kidd. Fuck. I don't know. I was thinking Bald. My bad.
Yeah, that's fine. They're easy mistake.
Yeah, my bad. So I'm still running on fumes.
I
for
also
this
will
week.
say that if you liked multi-man matches, this episode of Dynamite is for you.
Yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun though. Nothing too crazy, but just fun and keeping people consistent. Like,
there's a couple questions. Mainly one question. Just one. Why is Mike Bailey in the match?
That I don't know. I think it's just to kind of keep him on TV, and he's been like adjacent to all this.
All right, that was the only like question I had, because I thought the match was going to be Samoa Joe, Briscoe, and Willow versus, but that was before I knew that the Ops had a match. But I said, okay, Mike Bailey. All right, hey, I'm not mad. Just I was confused.
Yeah, because Briscoe and Kidd obviously have unfinished business, and like Willow and Marina are still going at it. Don't know what the shot to Chris meant. If they run back Willow and Chris at the stadium, I won't be upset by any means. I just don't know what they're doing with that pairing at this point. Because it's like they're not friends, but they're not heels. Neither of them are heels right now. But they're keeping that relevant by showing her watching the match. I thought Speedball was good in this match, though. He's continuing his momentum. I actually enjoyed his exchange with Moxley quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I didn't hate it. Yeah, I love seeing Mike Bailey, but I was just so confused.
Yeah, it was definitely... That's like definitely reaching like blunt rotation status on that team. But yeah, not bad. Fun match. But I wouldn't say essential viewing either. This was followed. Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna go with not a lot of essential viewing on this show tonight.
No, this is very much like a Fallout show. Just to kind of get things going before these. This felt like a break before all these crazy TV blocks coming up. Unfortunately, not that wasn't unfortunate the match, but the match ended up taking a pretty unfortunate turn. We were preluding a promo to the women's street fight with Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford taking on, which the promo is just a couple sentences, taking on the team of Harley Cameron and Anna Jay. And man, I just felt so bad because they both busted their noses in this match. Just rotten luck, man. There's nothing like what could you do
between this and the main event?
Just a bad nose show in general.
Jeez Louise, what is going on here? Yeah, I looked away for a second, and then I looked back on the TV, and I just see Harley Cameron's nose just, like, pouring blood. I said,
Yeah, so she smacked her face on the steps to the point to where like Doc Samson had to intervene, and it took the wind out of this match. Even though she tried to fire back up, it just didn't feel right going forward.
You knew, and Penelope whiffing.
Yeah, and then Doomsday Device, she totally she missed.
Now, maybe, see, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt because it was Harley Cameron that was on her shoulders, and maybe Penelope just didn't want to hit her.
Right.
I'm trying to give her the benefit because maybe
even if you don't hit her in the face, she's gonna rotate, and you don't want her to risk a landing.
Maybe she just said, "Hey, I'm not comfortable doing that kind of thing," and just didn't want to hit her. And if that's the point, I completely understand. But try to make it at least.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. This is one where like I'm not even going to like be critical.
No,
it's just unfortunate. Like
yeah.
this just went wrong, and like it wasn't anyone's fault.
In my head, I feel like Penelope was just doing the right thing and didn't want to cause any more pain to Harley, because after they zoomed in on it and Doc Samson went to go grab her nose, and she legit looked like she wanted to punch him.
Yeah, that just, it's unfortunate. And like, they haven't shared any details, but I believe, I don't watch press conferences anymore, but I think I saw a tidbit where Tony Khan was alluding to that there's a lot of injuries right now.
Well, I know
I think that's why the Bucks are on the show.
Yeah, I think I forgot which one it was, on the stage dive spot, I think he messed up his leg or something.
Oh yeah, Nick Jackson ate shit on the dive.
That one, and the swanton, right?
It looked like the back of his head just hit the stage.
That was it. That was not his leg, his head. Yeah, I think that's where they probably are at the moment. And then there was something else. I feel like someone else got their shit split at Double or Nothing too, like their nose or something.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. Never mind. I'm thinking of
later in the night.
No, I'm thinking of WWE. My bad.
Okay.
Chelsea Green fucked her nose up again. So.
Yeah, I haven't caught anything from Saturday night's main event yet, but I want to go back for the opening tag on that show.
Overall, hey, not to talk about WWE like sidebar, but not a bad show, to be honest. No, not overall, not a bad show.
Yeah, I want to go back for that. It was an easy watch.
I'll say that.
Cool. Because I just had a packed weekend and then the condensed week. It is what it is.
I'll say it's an easy watch, and Ron Cena is my new favorite wrestler.
Shout out Big Ron, man. This, I believe, tailed into a Ricochet promo where he's saying, well, everybody's got factions. It's a numbers game. I gotta form my own. Do you think he successfully finds people that want to work with him?
Absolutely not. It's going to be a running gag where no one's going to want to be with him. But he kept mentioning crew, though. So.
Don't hate that, especially the potential of, like, Ricochet and Leo Rush on a team together, specifically.
I don't hate it either. But I also feel like it's either going to be crew or he's just going to. I don't know who he would. I don't think anybody else. I think crew or he. Because in theory, he's got heavy hitters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. In theory, he's got to find people who are just as willing to stooge as he is, and I just don't know if there are people floating around as committed as he is to the bit.
Or you turn Private Party heel, and you boom.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, especially, like, Isaiah Cassidy in the past.
Yes. And I love Private Party, so that would work out for me as a fan.
You're talking me into that one, dude.
I just thought about
keep my
this.
Eyes peeled for it.
Because I was running teams in my head. Because, listen, it's either you're turning a team heel, or you got a team. Because you're either turning Top Flight heel, or you're bringing Private Party and make them heel.
Have they been at least on Collision since dropping the belts?
They have not been on anything since dropping the belts, I don't believe.
Well, you might have called your shot there. That might be a good way to bring them back into the fold. And with what they do with like their presentation and their entrance, I think you could go heel or face with them.
And Ricochet just come on. Like right there.
Just being just incredibly obnoxious.
I hate him already. Look at that.
Yeah, hell, that's gonna be awesome if that's the direction they decide to do. In my run sheet here, I believe it went into the Tekla debut, which I don't know how to feel about this, just because. Granted, I did not watch a lot of Tekla last year, but a lot of Stardom fans are not high on her.
My next question to you was going to be, I don't know who she is.
Yeah. So I watched a lot more of her in 2023, and I always thought she was fine. She was like not like a total lackey, but on the lower end of the Donna Del Mondo faction, which was that was Julia's faction.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was she with Julia?
Yeah, they had a tag team called Mafia Bella where they come out in like trench coats and shit, and they look really cool.
Like she looks familiar. Like I've probably seen like a picture or something of that nature, but I have zero. I just didn't know who she was. But I remember seeing that spider on the screen, like randomly.
Yeah, because that's her gimmick, the toxic spider.
Yeah.
I want to say she's from Switzerland or Switzerland?
Austria.
Okay, yeah, it was one of the two. I always get those mixed up.
Because they said, like, I forgot what they said, the Austrian something or other, or something from Austria.
Mm-hmm.
So I said...
Yeah, so she's, like...
They said, oh, we don't need Mariah May. We got... What's your name?
Yeah.
Tekla.
Tekla. Yeah, the H is silent. I'm curious to see where she fits, because, again, I don't have too much to write home about her. If you ask me what my favorite Tekla match was, I'll throw in a deep cut. There was a house show match against Saya Ida from early 2023 that I really liked, but after that, she was very much like I feel like a complimentary player in Donna Del Mondo.
So she is just like there kind of thing?
It really felt like it, but I mean, like, she clearly has like the charisma and like the look of, like, she doesn't look out of place on American TV. I want to see more from her in the ring, because her stuff in Hate, which is essentially like Stardom's House of Torture, not for me.
So my next question is, you said that a lot of people aren't big on her.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, again, it could just be...
Is it just because of, like, they're not big on her as a wrestler, or is she just not a good, like...
Oh, just strictly on work. I don't know anything about her personally.
Okay, yeah. That's where I was getting. I was like, is she... Because
no, I don't think it's anything like disparaging against her as a person.
She's just not, like, just a normal, like, hey, she's there kind of...
Yeah, I think that's the case, but...
Well, I mean, I'm interested, because I don't know anything about her, so I want to see, I'm always down to see to see people I've never seen before, I guess.
Yeah, and you never know. It's like a change of scenery and different opponents. What can happen? Like, I'm not like writing her off right away by any means.
But it was very weird, though. I will say that.
Yeah, but Jamie is the first feud. It just comes down to, like, what do you do there? Because I don't think Jamie should be losing again.
Yeah, and now you're not going to have your debuting person lose or look weak, I would assume. The only way
that they like, successfully pulled that off was with Josh Alexander, but it was like they worked that in perfectly to where it's like he lost to Hangman and then he turns heel, so Tech was already heel.
He joined the Don Callis family instantly. This is like, we don't know nothing about this lady.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm gonna withhold judgment.
Me too, because like I said, I didn't watch too much of her in 2024, and the things I've seen were mostly tags that I just wasn't huge on. So let's see what they do with her in a different setting, different format, different opponents. Keep an open mind, I'd say.
But before we get into the next match, we're going to double back on the Legal Rush thing.
Yes.
Just because I this is like a main question I've had with AEW, and maybe I ask you because you would be the brain to pick. Do you think that AEW leans more like the New Japan style of having factions? Or is it just like by chance that this is all happening?
Historically, yes.
Okay.
Because I think back
just the way I'm looking at it is just all like there's always been factions since day one. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely faction based. Loosely, I would say, because New Japan is similar to where like there are these groups that exist, but it's not like I'd say something like Dragon Gate, where if you're not in a faction, it's strange.
Yeah.
Because like even
Where
New
I should have.
Japan,
That's probably where I should have leaned more towards. Like, it's not like Dragon Gate, but it is like New Japan
it's
because
definitely more like New Japan. Yeah, because
yeah,
New Japan has their established groups, but then they have just like Hontai, which is just like you're independent of a faction, but you're probably a babyface just trying to win. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
Because
Tanahashi was never in like at least like in the golden age. Like Tanahashi was just Tanahashi. You know?
speaking of Tanahashi, I need to go back and watch Collision. By the way,
He actually, I think Tanahashi may have been in Team Taguchi for a while.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But again, that's Hontai adjacent. Tanahashi was on Double or Nothing. I took a break. I stepped out for a minute, and then I just heard his music, and I texted my brother. I'm like, is Tana doing a run in? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what the hell's what's going on with this? But
since we didn't watch the 6-man.
yeah, right, exactly.
Well, and then I was like, I looked at when the thing came on, and my buddy was over here. I looked, I was like, yo, when did this? Was this on Collision? He goes, no, it was on the pay per view. I was like, oh, I didn't watch this part.
Yeah, so Tanahashi was hanging out, which is cool. I wonder. I'm almost wondering if they're not just gonna do some like giant tag match for to get Tanahashi to wrestle in Arena Mexico before he's done.
I could see that happening. Little 6-man joint.
Yeah, I mean, unless they throw him on All In, which would be weird because they're like, yeah, he's done wrestling in America, and like we got to share that. But
I saw his last American wrestling match. Don't take that away from me.
Yeah, but speaking of Arena Mexico, we got a Mystico video package, which I was really happy to see because Mystico is the best.
I am stoked for this Arena Mexico show.
Yeah, I'll see if the card's floating around before we wrap up.
And then I'm also stoked. I don't know if you saw the card for that Worlds Collide though, with WWE thing. There's a couple matches. There's a couple matches on there you might want to.
Gable is wrestling Vikingo, right?
Yeah, that's the match.
And it's like Gable and not
America. Yes, it's Chad Gable and not. Yeah.
Starbucks order.
Starbucks order, yeah. But like, I'm if whoever listening is not who know who Vikingo is, just Google it, YouTube him. That little guy's a psychopath.
I got the card. I got the card pulled up here. So I want to see. Okay. Oh my goodness! I definitely gotta watch the.
Let me pull the card up.
Legato versus Wagner 3, Pagano, and Psycho Clown. Because my first thought is like, I'm just imagining a WWE. I don't think it like every WWE core audience member will go out of their way for this show, but I'm just imagining a WWE audience seeing Psycho Clown for the first time.
Yeah,
that's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be fucking great. And then the ladder match, like, yeah, I'm interested to see it. Like, I was skeptical at first of the whole like AAA thing or whatever, because my thing is, I don't want Del Rio anywhere near this.
Well, so far he's not. So
yeah, so fingers are good, you know. But yeah,
so this is gonna be in the middle of the day.
Yeah, this is awesome on YouTube.
Oh, on YouTube. That's interesting.
Well, at least that's what it says here. It says YouTube.com. So
yeah, well, that's cool. So it's the morning of Money in the Bank. Okay, or the afternoon before Money in the Bank. So yeah, I mean, at the very least, I will put that on.
It'll be on at some point in my
yeah, because as much as I'm like not here for the main event of Money in the Bank, I still want to watch Money in the Bank for like the ladder matches, and that 4-way on Worlds Collide looks pretty cool. I like Laredo. I like Laredo Kid.
Javon Evans.
Javon Evans.
That boy bouncy.
Yeah, him and Ray Phoenix are gonna do some
crazy shit.
Some wild shit, yeah. Ethan Page feels like the outlier there, but I don't think that should be fun at the very least. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about that. If that's not next week, it'll be the week after we can talk about that show.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah. I was shocked to see Cole versus Fletcher announced for tonight. I don't have much to say on the match other than I thought Adam Cole got his head caved in.
You're skipping one match, though.
I skipped a match?
You skipped the Ops.
Oh my gosh. What the hell is this frat boy faction? Wasn't Preston Vance...
Okay, so here, man, I'm gonna break it down for you the best of my ability, okay?
Wasn't he in
he was in Dark Order.
La Faction?
Yeah, so but that not anymore. He left that. That I don't know when he left that, but him and they all when Taurus or when Beast Mortos and Dralistico, right?
Yeah.
They replaced them with they replaced Vance. But so then I think it's on Ring of Honor because I have been getting these clips on TikTok that kept saying these frat house boys, and I'm looking and I see Griff Garrison, and I said, "Oh, they put Griff Garrison in a faction. I'm gonna look at this." And boy, was I surprised to see who this faction was.
This is very much like the land of the misfit toys because Jack Jameson had taken from a
piece of shit, first of all.
Yeah, from Bear Country because the one dude...
I feel bad for the other one. Let me tell you that.
The one dude was on some evil shit. And then Preston Vance has kind of been doing nothing. Griff Garrison, I don't remember the last time Griff Garrison was on TV, and then Cole Carter was Cole Carter, so it's just like...
And I like Preston Vance. I was like...
it seems like there's something there at least.
He's got it, and it's just like, damn, I wish they would do something with him. Because, like, even, so I watch a lot of, like, when Ethan Page did a lot of toy hunts on YouTube, Preston Vance was there, and he has a good character. Like, he's a good, like
an impressionable guy.
Yeah. So I'm like, they should build off that. And he's got the look. And then you stick him in this to get demolished by... Well, he didn't get demolished, but squash match. But
yeah.
And then I don't know. Whatever. Hey, it's a good Ring of Honor faction. I'll tell him that.
Yeah, very, very ROH, Tony Khan ROH pilled group here. The best part of this match to me, besides the Spinebuster party, the reactions of the Ops. I screen capped the Joe one, but the Shibata one was awesome too, because they're just like, what on earth is this?
When they were just talking, and then they zoomed in on Shibata's face, and he was just so confused as to what the hell's going on.
Yeah, just like, we gotta kill these boys real quick.
And all honesty, what they should have done is had the frat house come out first, do that stick, and then the Ops come out and beat their ass. But hey, what do I know? It was there. I was happy to see the Ops on my TV. I don't care.
Yeah, my bad. I totally missed that one. I've been better about that.
Oh no, right? Because it was only a 3 minute. It was only 3 minutes and 12 seconds long, according to Cage Match. So
I can appreciate a good squash. I was just thrown off because I just had no idea that this faction existed because I just have not been watching Ring of Honor television. So
yeah, I only knew through clips on TikTok. So
yeah, no, hey, they got paid. They got on TV. Good for them.
I mean, and Griff Garrison hasn't been relevant since. Who the fuck is Griff Garrison? All right, so
yeah, which unfortunately never a good thing to be relevant for. They dovetailed the next two matches together, and because they had overrun, I wonder if something went wrong. I have to go back and look, but I just feel like the timing of Cole Fletcher was off if they weren't going to do the switch. And they didn't do the switch.
I feel like we're going to get another. I feel like with the timing being off, something had to change, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this might have been it. Because I feel like the same way they were bumping up Fletch to, he's going to win that belt, I think, eventually.
And it's what the belt needs because they're not going to give Kyle Fletcher a nothing reign. They are so invested in his development. So
and then like he did say like after this match he did say like, they cut that promo in the backstage saying like I don't know who made that call but I didn't need help out there. So
yeah, and then like I mean Cole had some choice words too, saying he was going to kill him. So I don't know if we're going to get a gimmick match when they inevitably run it back, which I don't know if that will be on. I wouldn't be surprised if it's on All In. But
I think you put it on that 4-hour Dynamite.
I was going to say that's a perfect match to stick on one of these longer cards on TV. Especially, TV title and everything.
Yeah, you don't hold that for like or maybe even Fighter Fest. When's Fighter Fest?
Next week.
Never mind, it ain't next
I
week.
I mean, depending on what they do on Collision, because that's
Oh yeah,
definitely
yeah,
where
yeah.
that belt is home. I think you could accelerate it, but Kenny is defending next week too. So I don't know if you want. I understand that the international title isn't exactly a quote unquote mid card belt, but like I don't know if you want to.
I don't think you do two title matches.
Right, you want to keep one in. You might want to keep one in the chamber for Colorado for Summer Blockbuster. So
That too, yeah. Alright, so yeah,
speaking of the Kenny defense, first match in this tournament, they dovetailed it with the run in. So like Josh Alexander interfered, and like he obviously wrestled Brody King after that. Uh, on paper, I understand that we got 2 more matches to go. Very exciting bracket. I'm a huge fan of the matchmaking here because in addition to this match on Saturday, we're getting Claudio versus Commander, which I actually just watched their match in the Continental Classic, and those guys are 2 for 2. It's a really
yeah.
awesome pairing. Love their match the year
But
before.
the match I'm waiting for.
I just
This
don't
one.
know who's gonna win. Is
I got my money on my man. I can't pronounce I can't pronounce his name.
Hechicero?
That one.
Yeah, because I feel like whenever they bring him in, he loses. But I feel like the guy that AEW fans would be so into is Mascara Dorada, because this new version of Mascara Dorada, if he's not, he's one of the best high flyers in the world, and he could just do shit that you've never seen before. So on paper, that's genuinely a styles clash, given that Hechicero is so good on the mat. So I'm really interested to see what they do with that pairing in an AEW ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
And then
I just
who
like
do
my
you
man
put
comes
in?
out with the fire. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
dude, he's so sick. But I'm also curious to see, because obviously with this match, whoever's going to win this match is going to kind of be the powerhouse between Alexander and Brody King. They're going to be kind of the heavy. Then you can go either way, because do you go with the high flyers with Commander and Dorada? Do you have Claudio in there? Because I want to see Claudio and Kenny mix it up again. It's been like, aside from all the multi-man stuff, it's been years since they've had a singles match. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, it might be Final Battle '08 or something.
I think you put Claudio in that match. And because of the Brody King run in with maybe see that was a Don Callis family. Never mind, not
Yeah.
so yeah. But yeah,
That being said, though, I liked a lot of the match between Brody King and Josh Alexander. They were beating ass. Alexander was doing a lot of targeting of the arm. A lot of it worked for me. I thought it was a really good TV match.
I mean, match of the night for sure for me.
Yeah,
because
no
I
question.
mean, there really wasn't much meat on the bone anywhere else. But
Yeah, this one definitely had the most substance to it.
But like, I knew on paper when I was like, oh yeah, big meaty men slapping meat.
Hey, Brody King won something. Let's something. Yeah.
Our dog finally did it. I mean,
Hell yeah! With the God's hate cut off coming out to the ring.
And I popped. I said, look at, he finally did it. And then, I mean, I hope Josh Alexander's good, because his face
he was another nose casualty, or it was more maybe a cut by his eyebrow, but it poured down his nose. But
it juiced.
A lot of hard way blood on this show, all in very unfortunate ways. But so I hope everyone's all right. But I had a lot of fun with this match. I enjoyed it. Got a lot of time. Next time we did go into overrun with Mercedes and Tony. I didn't hate the segment by any means. It just felt kind of odd that this was closing the show for what it was.
That was my thing. I think it should. If it was in a different spot, I think I would have not respected, but I would have appreciated it more. Because I feel like there was a lot of pausing that those two did at certain points, and like I don't know. I think at this point I was like, damn, the show should be already over. Like,
yeah, because we were like well into. They got about 6 or 7 minutes of overrun for this. So Mercedes pulled up at like the top of the hour, and I just thought this was going to be at the top of the hour. my only other takeaway from this was obviously with Mercedes, it felt very scripted. Tony's did not though, so I'm like, how do you play off of that if somebody is maybe even if it's just bullet points? I don't know how they set up their promos. I don't work there.
They got 45 days to
Yeah, I mean, I do feel better about the matchup though, kind of seeing them interact.
I'm happy about the match because I know the match is gonna fuck. Like, I know for a fact.
Yeah, they want this to be the biggest women's match in company history, and they're obviously going to go crazy. One bit I really loved about the promo though was, Mercedes. I mean, it couldn't have been more on the nose. She was doing the Cowboy Carter stuff. She called herself the Beyonce of wrestling. And Tony Storm goes, "I'm the Tony Storm of professional wrestling." I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go!" Like, my brother and I were all fired up. We're like, "That's what you want, man." That line was awesome.
Yeah. She came out when Mercedes came out. I was like, why is she dressed like Beyonce? And then it made sense after the fact. But I'm stoked for this. Like, I was stoked for the Jamie Hayter Monet match, and I'm even more stoked for Tony Storm and Monet. And the line that it got me was Tony telling Mercedes, like, you said this was the match you wanted since you've been here in AEW. This is what you wanted, but what were you waiting for? But I feel like them waiting was the best option because now I'm more excited to see them wrestle.
They got all their chips down for this, and I think that's exactly what they wanted. I'm pretty sure Hangman and Mox will main event. If not, it'll be Kenny Okada. But they're at the very least making this out to be a giant deal, which works.
Yeah, they're going the extra mile to make sure that your three biggest feuds, quote unquote, on the All In are top notch story. You know what I'm saying? Top of the line. Like, nothing's gonna like it all means something. And I feel like
the stakes are the highest they could be.
And they always do that around All In because that's their flagship to me. Like, that's like what they want to put all their basket is All In, So they're gonna make sure that everything on this card is gonna be you can't miss. They want to make it feel like you can't miss a single thing on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pumped. I'm like this promo got me like, okay, like I need to see more interactions now.
Because time to get to the root of the issue between them.
Yeah, because I feel like we didn't get enough because of the time constraint on this promo.
Yeah, they kind of just had to have that first face-off anyways before they start throwing barbs. Before we wrap up, do you mind if I just pause real quick?
Do your thing, brother.
I saw some cards announced by CMLL, and I just assumed it was for the TV. They're running 3 shows that week. CMLL structures their touring is like they run Arena Mexico twice a week. So what they're doing for this, they're doing it 3 times because they're running the Wednesday there for TV. So the Tuesday show is going to be AEW, CMLL, and Ring of Honor. Headlined by Bandito versus Mascara Dorada for the ROH World title. Also on that card is Hologram versus Neon, which Neon's another incredible high flyer. That's going to be sweet. Cruz on that show. Then like Averno, Ultimo Guerrero, and Hechicero versus the Don Callis family. So like Takesha's going to be back in Arena Mexico. Then the Wednesdays TV for AEW, nothing announced yet, and the promotional material has like Kenny and Ospreay on it. So I think like the main event guys are going to be on that show. And then for the usual Friday Arena Mexico show, it's Fantastica Mania Mexico with AEW and New Japan. So much going on that week. The main event of that show is El Sky Team, which is Mystico, Mascara Dorada, and Neon, taking on the team of Bandito, Commander, and Hologram. So there's some sick stuff going on for these. I'm excited.
Tune in for sure on these ones.
Yeah, I got to see how the distribution's going because typically CMLL, they air all their shows on YouTube behind a paywall live. And then for like a lower price, you can get them like 10 days after or so. Obviously, the Wednesday show is going to be aired just on TBS. Like, AEW is going to have their cameras there. But I'm excited for these. It'll have that kind of Forbidden Door flavor, but because of just the atmosphere in Arena Mexico and obviously just different talent, it'll be refreshing, I think, for a lot of people. So keep an eye out for those. But overall, I had fun this week. I think Double or Nothing was good. TV was fine, but I think now there's going to just, by natural proximity to All In and these extended TV blocks, there's going to be more there as far as building these programs up and figuring out who's going where. Next week, we might fall into the habit of recording the night after, because getting on here at 11 to talk about God knows what 3 weeks in a row, like that, don't know if that'll work. So if we are a day behind, that's why. But keep it locked here. Chris, do you have anything else for me?
Nah, I think that's it, my brother. Hope everyone has a good week. Chill, stay safe.
Well, for Chris, for myself, this has been the Underhook Show. We'll talk to you again next time.
See ya.